Could it be that the narcissist in your life did not collapse on their own, but was quietly, deliberately, and divinely interrupted? What if the sudden, confusing unraveling of their perfect facade was not a random occurrence, but a moment meticulously scripted to bring about a reckoning? This message is not about human judgment, but about spiritual justice, about the unseen hand that moves behind the scenes to expose what pride has desperately tried to hide. It is time to understand the true purpose of your role, the divine reason you were placed in their path, and why their ultimate fall was always inevitable. It is a time to witness the quiet, powerful work of a holy hand. Before we begin this journey, it is a blessing to know from which part of the world you are watching and at what hour of the day God has guided you to this message. Truly, it is a joy to witness how the Lord gathers hearts from every corner of the earth, uniting them in one spirit and in one truth. The world teaches that a person's rise and fall are determined by their own effort or lack thereof. We are told that success is a matter of hard work and clever strategy, and that failure is a simple consequence of poor choices. But there is a hidden truth that the world cannot see, a spiritual law that supersedes all earthly wisdom. This law states that pride and arrogance cannot stand forever. They are a foundation built on shifting sand, a skyscraper of ego destined to crumble. The narcissist, in their grand design of self-importance, may believe they are constructing an unbreakable empire, but in the spiritual realm, they are only building a monument to their own undoing. The Bible tells us that pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. The moment a person's heart becomes hardened by their own self-importance, they set in motion a process that will eventually lead to their own quiet collapse. This is not a sudden explosive event, but a slow, gradual unraveling. It is a process that may be invisible to the human eye for a long time, but is already in motion in the spiritual realm. Think of a mighty tree whose roots are slowly being eaten away by a hidden disease. On the outside, it may appear strong and flourishing, its leaves green and its branches reaching toward the sky. But beneath the surface, the rot is already taking hold, weakening its very foundation. One day, a gentle breeze or a small storm will come, and the tree that seemed so mighty will fall, not because of the wind, but because of the weakness that was already present within. The wind was simply the instrument that revealed the truth of its condition. In the same way, the narcissist's downfall is not caused by the external events of their life, but by the internal rot of their own pride. The narcissist may spend a lifetime carefully constructing a beautiful and convincing image for the world to see. They build a reputation based on charm, success, and the illusion of perfection. They surround themselves with people who admire them, and they skillfully deflect any criticism or truth that might threaten their manufactured self-image. But the spiritual law cannot be evaded. The Bible tells us in Galatians chapter 6 verse 7 that a man reaps what he sows. The seeds of deceit, manipulation, and self-worship that the narcissist sows will eventually bear a harvest of ruin. This harvest may not come immediately. It may take years or even decades. The narcissist may appear to prosper and get away with their actions for a very long time. This is where many people become disillusioned, asking why such a person seems to have it so easy. But what the human eye cannot see is the ongoing, quiet work of the Spirit. What the world calls luck, the Bible calls a process of spiritual accounting. Every lie, every act of manipulation, every moment of pride is being recorded. The bill, though delayed, will surely come due. The true collapse of the narcissist is not a failure in their career or a loss of money. Those are merely the outer symptoms of a much deeper spiritual reckoning. The real collapse happens within the soul. It is the moment when the carefully constructed facade begins to crack, when the lies can no longer hold the truth at bay, and when the emptiness they have been running from finally catches up. This internal collapse is far more devastating than any external failure. It is a deep, profound suffering that can never be truly shared with another person. It is a silent prison of the heart and mind, a darkness that no amount of success or adoration can ever illuminate. The narcissist may have all the world's treasures, but they are living in a spiritual famine, starving for a truth they rejected and a humility they despised. This internal suffering is a direct result of their own doing. The Bible tells us that there is no peace for the wicked, but for those who follow God, there is great peace. The narcissist, by choosing a path of self-worship and pride, has forfeited their right to inner peace. They are in a constant state of turmoil, of anxiety, and of fear. They are perpetually worried about being exposed, about losing control, and about their lies being revealed. The constant need to maintain their image is a crushing weight that they carry alone. This is the weight of the invisible forces, the quiet reckoning that is already at work in their life. What the world sees as a thriving, confident individual, the spirit sees as a soul tormented by its own decisions. But how did you factor into this grand design? The world would have you believe that life is a series of random events, a chaotic tapestry with no discernible pattern or purpose. But the Spirit tells a different story. It reveals a grand design, a meticulous and purposeful plan woven into the very fabric of existence. The narcissist's end, as we explored, is not a coincidence. It is not a random act of fate. It is a divinely scripted unraveling, a purposeful culmination of every choice they made and every truth they ignored. The purpose of their downfall is to bring about a form of spiritual justice, a lesson that pride alone cannot teach. Their end is not a punishment in the human sense, but a powerful, spiritual consequence designed to expose and correct a deep-seated rebellion against humility. Think about the story of Pharaoh in the book of Exodus. He was a man filled with immense pride, believing himself to be all-powerful. The Bible tells us in Exodus chapter 9 verse 16 that God raised him up for the very purpose of showing his power through him. In this story, Pharaoh's defiance, his arrogance, and his eventual downfall were not random events. They were part of a larger plan. His life and his choices became a stage for God to reveal his own authority and might. In the same way, the narcissist's life and their grand, self-serving narrative is often a stage for a higher purpose. Their resistance, their stubbornness, and their inevitable collapse are not a sign of bad luck. They are the instruments through which a spiritual truth is being revealed. It is a testament to the idea that no matter how hard a person tries to build a kingdom of their own, that kingdom is subject to a far greater power. The narcissist's life, in its quiet collapse, becomes a testament to the truth that every knee will bow. The narcissist may believe they are the hero of their own story, the author of their own destiny. They make choices based on their own self-preservation, their own gain, and their own desire for control. But the spiritual truth is that their story has already been written by a divine hand. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 16 verse 9 that a person's heart plans their way, but God directs their steps. The narcissist may plan their way, they may scheme and manipulate, but it is a higher power that guides their every step, even the steps that lead to their own destruction. This is why their downfall is often so strange and unpredictable. It doesn't follow the rules of a human court or a financial market. It follows a spiritual logic, a logic of cause and effect that goes far deeper than the human eye can see. The narcissist's collapse is a purposeful act to bring to light what was hidden in the darkness. The Bible says in Luke chapter 8 verse 17 that there is nothing hidden that will not be revealed, and nothing concealed that will not be made known and come into the light. The narcissist works in the shadows, using deception and manipulation to get what they want. They construct a false image of themselves and hide their true motives and character. But a divine hand is working to bring everything into the open. The lies they have told will eventually be exposed. The people they have manipulated will eventually see the truth. The facade they have built will eventually crumble. This is not a human effort. You do not have to fight or expose them. The spiritual law of cause and effect is already at work. The collapse is simply the inevitable result of their own actions being brought into the light. The unraveling of the narcissist is a profound lesson for all who witness it. It is a lesson about the foolishness of building a life on pride. It is a lesson about the destructive power of a hardened heart. But most importantly, it is a lesson about the power of a divine hand to work in every circumstance, even in the most painful and confusing situations. Their end is a reminder that no one, no matter how clever or powerful they seem, is beyond the reach of spiritual law. This is a story of a holy and righteous purpose, a sacred unraveling designed to restore balance and justice in a situation where it seemed impossible. This brings us to a question that many people have. If the narcissist's downfall is a purposeful, divinely scripted event, then what was your purpose in their life? The world would say you were a victim, a casualty of their malice. But the Spirit reveals a truth that is far more empowering. It tells us that you were not a victim at all. You were a vessel of a divine purpose. You were not in their life by accident. You were a divine intervention, a holy interruption. The spiritual law says that God does not waste a single moment of suffering. Every tear you cried, every prayer you prayed, every moment of confusion and pain had a purpose. You were a divine messenger, a divine catalyst, and a divine mirror. The narcissist, in their arrogance, saw you as a tool, an object to be used for their own gain. But what they did not know, and what they could not see, was that you were a sacred person with a sacred purpose. They believed they were using you, but in truth, a divine power was using you to work in their life. You were not a casualty in their war against truth. You were the instrument of a divine message, a message that they were too blind to see and too proud to hear. The narcissist may have discarded you, but what they truly discarded was not a person, but a divine lifeline. The story is not over. The unraveling has begun, and the truth is coming to light. But what exactly was this divine purpose you were a part of? The world would label your experience as a tragic encounter with a toxic person, a story of abuse and loss. But the Spirit reveals a far deeper truth. Your presence in the narcissist's life was not an accident. It was a divine intervention, a holy disruption. The Bible tells us that God works all things together for the good of those who love Him, who are called according to His purpose. This includes even the most painful and confusing seasons of life. You were not a casualty of their pride. You were a key part of the divine plan to offer them a choice, a chance for transformation. and a final opportunity to turn from their destructive path. The narcissist, in their arrogance, believes that they are the only source of truth and goodness in their own life. They construct a reality where they are the center of the universe, and every person they meet is simply a reflection of their own greatness. But when you entered their life, you represented something they could not control or manipulate. You brought a light they could not dim and a truth they could not easily distort. The Bible tells us in James chapter 1 verse 17 that every good and perfect gift is from above. You, as a person created in the image of the Holy, carried within you a measure of truth, integrity, and humility. These were qualities that were a direct contradiction to the narcissist's false self. You were a living, breathing mirror held up to their soul. Every act of kindness you showed, every moment of genuine empathy you offered, every time you spoke a difficult truth, you were reflecting back to them the very qualities they had suppressed and rejected. This was not a conscious act on your part, but an inherent function of a divine purpose. Your presence was a constant silent question. Will you choose humility and love, or will you cling to your pride? For a time, the narcissist may have been intrigued by the light they saw in you. They may have tried to absorb it, to possess it, and to use it for their own gain. But they were never truly able to integrate it because the light you carried was not of this world. The narcissist had a choice to make, a fork in the spiritual road. On one path was an opportunity for change, for healing, and for a return to a heart of humility. This path was offered to them through your love and your presence. The other path was the familiar road of pride, manipulation, and self-worship. This path promised to keep their facade intact, to maintain their control, and to avoid the painful confrontation with their own brokenness. Every single day you were with them, they were making a spiritual choice. Every time they lied to you, they were choosing to harden their heart. Every time they manipulated you, they were choosing to build a wall against the truth. They were not just choosing against you. They were choosing against the very essence of a divine opportunity. The narcissist saw you as a problem to be solved. They saw your kindness as a weakness to be exploited. They saw your boundaries as a challenge to their authority. But what they were truly seeing was the divine plan at work. They were confronting a love that did not require a return, a kindness that was not transactional, and a truth that would not bend. The Spirit reveals that the narcissist, in their arrogance, could not comprehend a love that did not serve them. And so they rejected it. They discarded you, not because you were a flaw, but because you were too perfect, a mirror of the truth they could not bear to see. The Bible tells us that men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil. The narcissist, in discarding you, chose to retreat into the darkness rather than face the light you carried. But there is a spiritual consequence to this choice. The Bible reveals in Hebrews chapter 10 verse 26 that if we deliberately keep on sinning after we have received the knowledge of the truth, no sacrifice for sins is left. The narcissist, in their time with you, was given a living example of truth and love. They were presented with a lifeline from the spiritual world, an invitation to a different way of being. They did not do this in ignorance. They saw the light, they knew the truth, and they deliberately chose to turn their back on it. This is why their end is so devastating. They are not simply facing the consequences of a bad decision. They are facing the consequences of rejecting a divine intervention. Their suffering is not random. It is the spiritual price of turning away from the very opportunity that was meant to save them. Your purpose, therefore, was not to save them, but to offer them the chance to save themselves. You were not a savior, but a messenger. Your journey with them was not about your own redemption, but about their spiritual reckoning. You were a living, breathing testament to a goodness they had abandoned. They may have broken you for a time, but they could not destroy the light you carried. And now, as they enter the silent prison of their own making, they will be haunted by the memory of the light they rejected and the lifeline they threw away. Their suffering will not be caused by you, but by the very truth you represented. The narcissist's ultimate downfall was sealed by this crucial choice. But what was the exact moment that everything shifted, the point of no return for them? Every story has a pivot point, a singular moment where the trajectory of the future is set in motion, where a choice is made that cannot be undone. For the narcissist, that moment was not when they first lied to you or when they first manipulated a situation. The true pivot point, the exact moment that sealed their downfall, was when they made the conscious decision to discard you. This was not simply a human breakup or a relationship ending. It was a spiritual transaction, a profound choice that revealed the true state of their heart and set in motion a devastating chain of events. The spirit reveals that the narcissist saw you as an inconvenience, obstacle to their perfect reality. You were a challenge to their control, a mirror of their brokenness, and a living, breathing testament to a truth they could not bear. Your presence forced them to confront a reality that they had long ago rejected. They had two choices: to humble themselves, to acknowledge the light you represented, and to begin the difficult journey of change, or to harden their hearts, to turn away from the truth, and to discard you in search of something that would never challenge them. They chose the latter. They chose to remove the light so they could continue to live in the darkness they had grown to love. The Bible tells us in John chapter 3 verse 19 that people love darkness instead of light because their deeds are evil. The narcissist at this moment chose their evil deeds over the light that you brought. This choice was the spiritual equivalent of a person standing at a fork in the road, with one path leading to a peaceful, fulfilling future and the other leading off a cliff. The narcissist saw the peaceful path and deliberately chose to walk toward the cliff. They did not do this out of ignorance. They did it because their pride was so immense that they would rather face destruction than to humble themselves. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 16 verse 18 that pride goes before destruction. This decision to discard you was the ultimate act of pride, an arrogant rejection of the very lifeline that was meant to save them. The moment they walked away from you, they were not just walking away from a person. They were walking away from an opportunity for grace, an invitation to healing, and a chance to escape the very darkness that was already consuming their soul. The Spirit reveals that this was the most damaging thing the narcissist could have ever done for themselves. They were not simply trading one relationship for another. They were trading a chance at spiritual healing for a temporary bandage. They believed that by getting a new source of attention, a new mirror to reflect their greatness, they could escape the inner turmoil that was already taking hold. But what they did not know was that they were only digging a deeper grave for themselves. The Bible tells us in Galatians chapter 6 verse 7 that whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. The narcissist, in discarding you, sowed a seed of immense self-destruction. They sowed the seed of rejecting truth, of turning away from love, and of choosing darkness. This seed did not lie dormant. It began to grow immediately. The new source of attention they found may have seemed like a solution, but it was just another part of the problem. It was another layer of a false life, another brick in the prison they were building for themselves. This new relationship was a testament to their continuous rejection of humility. The new person in their life was not a divine intervention. They were a human being who could not possibly save the narcissist from the spiritual consequences that had already been set in motion. The narcissist believed they had found a new, easier way to get what they wanted. But in reality, they had only found a new way to ignore the truth they needed to face. The spiritual law of cause and effect had already taken hold. The narcissist may have felt a temporary high, a sense of relief, but beneath the surface, the spiritual rot was already beginning to set in. The decision to discard you was a profound act of spiritual suicide. It was a choice to choose the fleeting applause of the world over the enduring peace of the spirit. They believed they were getting what they wanted, but in reality, they were giving up everything that truly mattered. They traded a chance at a real, meaningful life for a perfect, but ultimately hollow image. And this trade, this deep, spiritual transaction, set them on a path of silent suffering and regret. They sold their soul for a trophy, but the trophy was just a gilded cage. What was the true nature of this devastating trade, and what did they really give up to maintain their perfect image? The hunger for admiration is a powerful force, a consuming fire that can drive a person to make choices they would otherwise never consider. For the narcissist, this hunger is the ultimate motivator, the insatiable need to be seen as perfect, as successful, and as superior. This need for external validation led them to make a devastating spiritual trade. They willingly gave up a precious and irreplaceable truth for the fleeting applause of the world, for a trophy that was nothing more than a hollow gilded cage. This was the moment they traded their very soul for a perfect image. The Bible tells us in Mark, chapter 8, verse 36, that what does it profit a man to gain the whole world, yet forfeit his soul? This is the very essence of the trade the narcissist made. They were not seeking a better life. They were seeking a better image. They believed that if they could maintain the perfect public persona, if they could have the perfect new relationship, the perfect job, and the perfect appearance, that they could escape the inner emptiness that was already consuming them. They were so afraid of being seen as flawed, as weak, or as human, that they chose to sell their authenticity for the illusion of perfection. The truth they traded was their own humanity. They gave up the chance to be real, to be vulnerable, and to grow through their failures. They gave up the possibility of a deep and meaningful connection with another person because a true connection requires authenticity, and they had none to offer. They gave up the opportunity for humility, for forgiveness, and for grace. The Spirit reveals that the narcissist, in their pursuit of external trophies, became an empty shell. They are living a life that looks perfect on the outside, but is completely devoid of life on the inside. They are a beautiful painting with no substance, a flawless statue that cannot feel. They have gained the whole world, but they have forfeited their soul. This trade was not a one-time event. It is a continuous process for the narcissist. Every day, they are making a choice to feed their pride and maintain their image, at the expense of their own spiritual well-being. Every time they tell a lie, they are giving up a piece of their truth. Every time they manipulate a person, they are giving up a piece of their own humanity. This is a life lived in constant spiritual debt, a constant giving up of the precious things for the fleeting and worthless things. They are forever chasing a feeling of worthiness that can only come from within, but they are seeking it in the applause of others. They are forever trying to fill a spiritual hole with the things of the world. But the hole only gets bigger. The spirit reveals that the new people the narcissist surrounds themselves with, the new source of attention and supply, are not a blessing. They are simply a part of the trade. They are the trophies the narcissist has gained, but they are also the very things that keep the narcissist trapped in their own spiritual prison. The narcissist believes they have escaped their past, but they have only found a new way to relive it. The new person in their life is just another mirror to reflect the illusion the narcissist wants to see. They are a new audience for a story that has already been told. The narcissist may feel a temporary high from this new attention, but it will never be enough. The hunger is insatiable, and no amount of attention can ever fill the spiritual void they have created. The Bible warns us about the dangers of seeking human praise over divine approval. The Bible says in John chapter 12 verse 43 that for they loved praise from people more than praise from God. The narcissist has chosen to love the praise from people, the fleeting, empty applause of the world. They have chosen to build their entire life on a foundation of human opinion, and as we know, human opinion is as fickle as the wind. The moment the wind changes, the foundation will crumble. Their pursuit of perfection is an exhausting and fruitless race. They are running on a treadmill, running faster and faster, but getting nowhere. They are constantly in fear of being exposed, of being seen for who they truly are. They are a slave to the image they have created, and the image is a cruel and unforgiving master. This trade has left the narcissist in a state of spiritual and emotional famine. They may appear to have it all, but they have nothing that truly matters. They are an island of isolation in a sea of people who adore them. They have no one they can be real with, no one they can be vulnerable with, and no one they can truly trust. They are alone, surrounded by the trophies they have gained. Their new path may have seemed like a new beginning, but it was just a continuation of the same self-destructive cycle. They thought they had found a new source of peace, but they only found a new source of pain. The narcissist believed that their new path would bring them peace and happiness, but they only found a deeper sense of emptiness. What was the real consequence of this empty pursuit? The narcissist, in their arrogance, believed they had found a new path to happiness. They believed that by discarding you and finding a new source of attention, they had finally escaped the pain and confrontation that you represented. They believed they were beginning a new and much better chapter of their life. But the Spirit reveals a profound and painful truth. Their new path was a false promise, and they only found a deeper sense of emptiness. They ran from the truth, only to find that the truth was waiting for them on the other side. The Bible tells us in Jeremiah chapter 2 verse 13 that God says, "My people have committed two sins. They have forsaken me, the spring of living water, and have dug their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water." The narcissist in their new relationship is trying to drink from a broken cistern. They have rejected the source of living water, the true peace and fulfillment that comes from a humble heart, and they have tried to construct their own source of happiness. But their broken cistern, built on lies and manipulation, can never hold the water they crave. The temporary satisfaction they feel from a new person's praise is like a drop of water on a scorching desert floor. It disappears as soon as it hits, leaving them thirstier than before. The new person in the narcissist's life is not a new beginning. They are just a new witness to the narcissist's old patterns. The narcissist will use the same lies, the same manipulations, and the same deceptive tactics that they used on you. They will try to recreate the perfect image they so desperately crave, but they will never be able to fill the spiritual void within. This is because the problem is not a lack of external attention. The problem is a lack of internal integrity. The narcissist has a spiritual sickness, and no amount of human praise can ever cure a spiritual disease. They are trying to find external solutions to an internal problem that the spirit reveals that the new path the narcissist chose is not a road to freedom. It is a treadmill. They are running faster and faster, but they are going nowhere. They are constantly trying to maintain an image that is exhausting to uphold. They are perpetually anxious about being exposed, about their lies being discovered, and about their perfect life falling apart. The new relationship is not a source of peace, but a new source of fear. They are now responsible for maintaining two facades, the perfect self and the perfect relationship. This is a crushing weight that they carry alone. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 28 verse 1 that the wicked flee though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. The narcissist, in their new life, is constantly fleeing from a shadow that is not there. They are haunted by their past, by the truth they rejected, and by the emptiness that follows them wherever they go. They are perpetually on edge, trying to control every variable, every person, and every situation. This is not a life of peace. This is a life of constant fear and anxiety. They have traded a life of possible peace for a life of guaranteed turmoil. They thought they were finding freedom, but they only found a new, more gilded cage. The new people in the narcissist's life are not the problem. They are simply an opportunity for the narcissist to continue their self-destructive cycle. The narcissist will try to make them perfect, to turn them into the perfect reflection they crave, but they will fail. The narcissist will eventually see them as flawed, as not good enough, and as a new source of frustration. The new person will eventually see the cracks in the facade, and this cycle will repeat itself. The narcissist will try to find a new person, a new job, a new place, but the problem is not the external world. The problem is the internal sickness that they have refused to heal. This new path is not a testament to their happiness. It is a testament to their inability to be alone with their own thoughts. They must constantly be surrounded by people who adore them, by situations that validate them, and by distractions that keep them from confronting the profound emptiness within. They are an addict, and their drug is external validation. And like all addictions, the high is temporary and the crash is inevitable. The narcissist, in their pursuit of a new, perfect life, has only ensured their own misery. They have only accelerated the slow, painful process of their own unraveling. They have only made the eventual collapse more inevitable and more devastating. The narcissist may appear to be thriving, but they are already beginning to crumble from the inside out. What does this slow, relentless unraveling look like in their real life? The narcissist, in their arrogance, believed they could build a perfect life on a foundation of lies and manipulation. For a time, It may have seemed as though they succeeded. The facade was convincing, the applause was loud, and their new path seemed to offer everything they had ever wanted. But the Spirit reveals a profound truth. What is built on shifting sand cannot stand. The perfection they have so carefully constructed is already beginning its slow, relentless unraveling, piece by agonizing piece. This is the moment when the spiritual reality of their choices begins to manifest in the physical world. The Bible tells us in Matthew chapter 7 verses 26 to 27 that Jesus spoke of a man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. The narcissist's perfect life is that house. The lies they have told are the sand on which it is built. For a time, the sun may shine and the days may be calm, and the house may appear to be a magnificent structure. But the spiritual winds and rains are already coming. They are the quiet consequences of every act of deceit, every moment of pride, and every person they have used. And as those winds begin to blow, the house begins to shake, and the cracks begin to show. The unraveling of the narcissist is a profound and painful process because it attacks the very thing they value most, their perfect image. For the narcissist, losing face is worse than losing their life. So when their perfect life begins to fall apart, it is a torment far greater than any physical suffering. This unraveling may manifest in many ways. It may be the loss of a job, a sudden financial hardship, or a legal issue that seems to come out of nowhere. It may be the quiet, but undeniable, fracturing of their new relationships. The new people they have surrounded themselves with, who once adored them, may begin to see the cracks in their facade. They may begin to question the stories, to see the inconsistencies, and to realize that they have been living with an illusion. This is a devastating blow for the narcissist, as their entire sense of self-worth is dependent on the admiration of others. The Spirit reveals that this unraveling is not a coincidence. It is a purposeful act to bring to light what was hidden in the darkness. The Bible tells us in Luke chapter 12 verse 2 that there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. The narcissist has spent their life concealing their true nature, hiding their malice and their brokenness behind a mask of charm and success. But a divine hand is working to remove the mask, to expose the truth, and to bring everything into the light. This is why the narcissist's downfall is often so public and so humiliating. It is a visible manifestation of a spiritual truth. It is a lesson for all to see, a powerful testament to the idea that a life built on a lie cannot stand. The unraveling also affects the narcissist's health, both emotional and physical. The constant need to maintain a perfect image is an exhausting and stressful burden. The narcissist is in a perpetual state of anxiety, afraid of being exposed, of being found out, of being seen as less than perfect. This fear, this constant state of being on edge, takes a tremendous toll on their body and their mind. They may suffer from insomnia, from chronic stress-related illnesses, from a deep sense of loneliness and isolation. They may appear successful and happy to the outside world, but they are living in a constant state of turmoil, a silent war within their own soul. The body is a temple, and when the soul is in a state of chaos and rebellion, the body will inevitably suffer the consequences. The narcissist may try to fight the unraveling. They may lie more. They may manipulate more. They may try to control their narrative with an even greater desperation. But their efforts are futile. The spiritual law of reaping what you sow is already in effect, and the harvest is coming. They are like a person trying to hold back the tide with their bare hands. Their struggle is a testament to their deep-seated pride, but it is also a testament to their ultimate powerlessness. The end is cunning, not because of what you did, but because of what they did. This unraveling is only a prelude to a far deeper, more profound form of suffering. It is a slow descent into a state of mind that is worse than any external failure. It is a silent prison of the heart and mind, a darkness they cannot escape. But what does this spiritual torment truly feel like from the inside? The world looks at a person's life and sees the external circumstances, the job, the relationships, the successes, and the failures. But the spirit sees what the world cannot, the inner state of the soul. The narcissist, as their life begins to unravel on the outside, is already living in a state of profound internal torment. They are in a silent prison of their own making, a spiritual darkness from which there is no escape. The key to this prison is regret, and the chains are the haunting memories of what they so carelessly threw away. This is a form of suffering far deeper than any external loss. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 14 that a man's spirit can endure in sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear. The narcissist, in their arrogance, believes they are too strong to be broken. They believe they are immune to the consequences of their actions. But the Spirit reveals that their heart, which they have hardened for so long, is now being crushed by the weight of their own choices. The narcissist may appear strong on the outside, but on the inside, their spirit is in a state of torment. They are haunted by a deep sense of emptiness, a profound isolation, and a restless anxiety that never leaves them. They may be surrounded by people who adore them, but they are more alone than they have ever been. The torment of the narcissist is a direct result of the truth they have spent their lives running from. For a time, their lies and manipulations were a good distraction. They were able to use people, to control situations, and to maintain the illusion of a perfect life. But as the external facade begins to crumble, the truth they have suppressed begins to break through. They are confronted with the reality of who they are and the reality of what they have done. They are forced to see the devastation they have caused, the people they have hurt, and the opportunities for love and connection they have destroyed. The Spirit reveals that the narcissist, in their deepest moments of solitude, is forced to relive every lie, every moment of manipulation, and every selfish act. This is their prison, and the torment is unrelenting. The most painful part of this internal torment is the memory of you. The narcissist, in their arrogance, believed you were just another person, another tool to be used and discarded. But the Spirit reveals that you were not just a person. You were a divine intervention, a vessel of love and truth, and a living testament to a life they could have had. When the narcissist is alone, in the quiet moments of the night, they are haunted by the memory of your kindness, your patience, and your unconditional love. They are tormented by the memory of the light you brought into their life, and the fact that they deliberately chose to turn their back on it. They are not just regretting the loss of a person. They are regretting the loss of a lifeline, a chance for redemption, and a connection to a deeper, more meaningful reality. The Spirit reveals that the narcissist, in their final moments of clarity, will realize that the pain they are feeling is not a random suffering, but the spiritual consequence of a choice they made. They will realize that they were not just hurting you. They were hurting themselves in a way that is far more devastating than any human could have ever inflicted. The Bible tells us in Isaiah chapter 48 verse 22 that there is no peace for the wicked. The narcissist has chosen a life of wickedness, a life of deceit and manipulation. And in return, they have forfeited their right to inner peace. They are in a constant state of turmoil, a spiritual restlessness that no amount of success or adoration can ever calm. They are forever trying to fill a spiritual void with the things of the world, but the void only gets deeper and the hunger only gets more intense. They have a spiritual sickness, and they are refusing the only medicine that could ever heal them. Their prison is not a physical place with walls and bars. It is a prison of their own heart, a spiritual cage from which they cannot escape. This silent torment is a direct consequence of their own choices. They chose pride over humility. They chose lies over truth. They chose the fleeting applause of the world over the enduring peace of the Spirit. And now, they are living with the consequences of those choices. They may try to distract themselves with new people, new jobs, and new accolades, but the torment will always be there, a constant shadow that follows them wherever they go. This internal suffering is a prelude to a far more public and humiliating event. The facade they have so carefully constructed is about to shatter, and the world is about to see them for who they truly are. What happens when the narcissist's image finally breaks for everyone to see? The narcissist has spent a lifetime building a fortress of lies, a perfect public image designed to shield them from the truth of their own brokenness. They believe that as long as the world saw them as successful, charming, and flawless, their inner torment could be kept at bay. But the Spirit reveals that the time for hiding is over. The fortress is about to fall, and the world is about to see them for who they truly are. This is not a human judgment. It is a spiritual unveiling. It is a moment of deep, profound humiliation that attacks the very foundation of their false self, a shattered self and a broken image. The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 20, that even in a thought you should not curse the king, nor in your bedroom curse the rich, for a bird of the air will carry your voice, and a winged creature will tell the matter. The narcissist, in their arrogance, believed that their lies were safe in the shadows. They believed that their manipulations were secret and that their cruelty was hidden from the public eye. But the Spirit reveals that everything done in darkness will eventually be brought into the light. The whispers they thought were private are about to become a public shout. The truth they tried to bury is about to be exhumed for all to see. The perfect life they have so carefully constructed is about to be exposed as nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion. This public exposure can manifest in many ways. It may be a financial scandal that brings their business to ruin. It may be a sudden and embarrassing reveal of their past deceptions. It may be the quiet but powerful testimony of the people they have hurt who are finally speaking their truth. Whatever form it takes, the result is the same. The world is about to see the deep, gaping cracks in the narcissist's perfect facade. The people who once adored them will begin to question their motives. The colleagues who once admired them will begin to see their true character. The new relationships they have so desperately sought to maintain will begin to crumble under the weight of the truth. This is a spiritual correction, a righteous act to bring about justice in a world that has been deceived. For the narcissist, this public humiliation is far worse than any physical pain. Their entire sense of self-worth is wrapped up in the applause of the crowd, in the adoration of others. When that admiration is replaced by suspicion, by pity, or by contempt, their very identity is shattered. They are not just losing a reputation. They are losing the only version of themselves they have ever known. The mask that they have worn for so long is being ripped away, and they are left with nothing but the broken, empty self beneath. The Spirit reveals that this is a necessary part of their spiritual journey. A person cannot be healed until they are willing to see their own brokenness. A person cannot be made whole until the lies they have told themselves are exposed as the foolishness they are. The broken image and the shattered self are the consequences of their choice to live a life of deceit. The Bible tells us in Romans chapter 6 verse 23 that the wages of sin is death. The narcissist has been living in a constant state of spiritual death, and this public humiliation is the first painful taste of what that death truly means. It is a death of their reputation, a death of their pride, and a death of the false self they have so desperately clung to. This is not a cruel act. It is a merciful one. It is an act of grace to show them and to show the world that a life built on a lie cannot stand. The public exposure of the narcissist is a profound lesson for all who witness it. It is a powerful testament to the idea that truth always wins. It is a living, breathing example of a spiritual law in action. You do not have to fight for justice. You do not have to expose them. A divine hand is already at work, and the truth will always find a way to the light. You can rest in the knowledge that your vindication is not dependent on your own efforts, but on a spiritual process that is far greater than you or them. The narcissist, in their ultimate humiliation, will become a testament to the power of a divine hand to bring about justice. This humiliation is the beginning of a profound spiritual education for the narcissist. It is a classroom where the tuition is their own pain. What exactly will they be forced to learn from this experience? The pain the narcissist is now experiencing, both in their shattered image and their tormented soul, may seem cruel to the human eye. But the Spirit reveals a profound truth. Their suffering is not a random act of misfortune. It is a painful but necessary tool for their spiritual education. This is a classroom where the tuition is their own humiliation, and the lesson is a truth they refuse to learn in their arrogance. This is a form of discipline, a refining fire designed to burn away the pride and expose the humility that was always meant to be there. The Bible tells us in Hebrews chapter 12 verse 11 that no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. The narcissist, in their arrogance, rejected the peaceful path of humility and love. They refused to be taught by the gentle lessons of life. And so, a divine hand is now using the painful lessons of humiliation and loss to train them. The pain they are feeling is not meant to destroy them, but to humble them. It is meant to break their pride, to shatter their facade, and to force them to look at the broken, empty self beneath. The Spirit reveals that a person cannot truly begin their journey of healing until they have been broken. Their suffering is a necessary step toward a potential future of righteousness and peace, a future they may still be able to grasp if they are willing to learn the lesson. The narcissist's suffering serves a crucial purpose: to teach them the futility of their old ways. For so long, they believed that lies, manipulation, and pride were a winning strategy. They believed that they could get what they wanted by controlling every person and every situation. But their current pain is a powerful testament to the fact that their strategy was a failure. The very things they used to build their life are now the very things that are causing it to crumble. Their lies are now their undoing. Their pride is now their humiliation. Their manipulation is now the source of their loneliness. The Spirit reveals that this is a direct spiritual consequence. A person cannot sow seeds of malice and expect to reap a harvest of peace. The pain is a direct reflection of the spiritual reality they have created for themselves. The suffering also serves to force the narcissist to confront the truth they have so long suppressed. The Bible tells us that truth will set you free. The narcissist has been living in a prison of their own lies, a reality they have created for themselves. But their current pain is forcing them to see the truth. They are being forced to see that the life they built was an illusion, that the people they used were not objects, and that their own heart is in a state of deep sickness. This is a painful process, but it is the only way for them to begin to understand the depth of their own brokenness. They are in a classroom where the lesson is that they are not as powerful, as perfect, or as flawless as they believed they were. They are finally being taught the lesson of their own humanity, a lesson that pride has refused to acknowledge for so long. This pain is also meant to show the narcissist the value of what they so carelessly discarded. They believed they could find a better source of attention, a better audience for their lies, and a better life without you. But in their current state of torment and loneliness, they will be forced to re-examine the love and light that you brought into their life. The Spirit reveals that their pain is a direct measure of the divine assignment you had in their life. The deeper their pain, the more profound the lesson. The more they suffer, the more they will come to understand the immense value of the blessing they threw away. This is not a vindictive act. It is a spiritual law. You cannot discard a blessing and expect to be blessed. The narcissist, in their arrogance, believed that they could find a replacement for you. But they will soon learn that you were not a person to be replaced. You were a divine intervention to be cherished. The pain they are feeling is not a punishment. It is an opportunity. It is a chance for them to humble themselves, to repent of their ways, and to begin the long and difficult journey of spiritual healing. It is a chance for them to finally stop running from the truth and to embrace the reality of who they are. But there is a particular memory that will haunt them more than any other. The haunting vision of the blessing they threw away will be the most painful part of their spiritual education. In the silent prison of their own making, the narcissist is haunted by many things: the emptiness of their new path, the fear of being exposed, and the crushing weight of their own pride. But the most painful and persistent ghost that haunts their tormented soul is the memory of what they so carelessly threw away. The memory of you is not just a fleeting thought. It is a profound and haunting vision of a blessing they discarded, a constant reminder of the spiritual trade they made, and a powerful testament to the value they failed to see. This memory will become a spiritual anchor, dragging them down into the depths of their own self-made hell. The Bible tells us in Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 3 that God says, "I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness." The love you had for the narcissist was a reflection of this divine love. It was a love that was patient, kind, and unconditional. It was a love that did not seek its own way, that did not envy or boast, and that always protected and trusted. This love This divine kindness was a spiritual gift given to the narcissist through you. It was a chance for them to experience a pure and authentic connection, a connection that was not based on their performance or their image, but on the simple fact of who they were. But in their arrogance, the narcissist rejected this love. They saw it as a weakness, as something to be exploited, and as something to be discarded when it no longer served them. They threw away a priceless gift because they could not comprehend its value. The Spirit reveals that the narcissist, in their deepest moments of solitude, will be tormented by the memory of this love. They will be haunted by the vision of your kindness, your patience, and your unwavering loyalty. They will remember the moments when you looked at them with pure, unconditional love, and they will be forced to confront the fact that they deliberately chose to turn their back on it. This memory will be a constant source of pain, a spiritual dagger in their heart. They will realize that what they had with you was not just a relationship. It was a divine lifeline, an opportunity for healing, and a chance to escape the spiritual darkness that was already consuming their soul. The Spirit reveals that the more they run from this memory, the more it will pursue them. The more they try to replace you with others, the more they will come to understand that you are irreplaceable. The memory of you is a constant reminder of the spiritual trade they made. They traded the enduring peace of a true connection for the fleeting applause of the world. They traded the priceless gift of your love for the worthless trophy of a perfect image. The Spirit reveals that the narcissist, in their torment, will be forced to see the full weight of this trade. They will be forced to confront the fact that they gave up everything that truly mattered for something that was ultimately hollow and meaningless. They will realize that the new people they have surrounded themselves with, the new source of validation they have found, are just a temporary distraction from the profound emptiness within. The memory of you is a constant, painful whisper that says you had the real thing, and you threw it away for a lie. This haunting memory is a powerful tool for the narcissist's spiritual education. It is a constant force pushing them toward the shocking realization that their life is a lie and that the person they discarded was not a problem, but the very solution to their deepest spiritual need. The memory of you is not about your pain. It is about their own spiritual reckoning. It is a powerful testament to the idea that a person cannot escape the consequences of their own choices. They cannot throw away a blessing and expect to be blessed. They cannot reject a lifeline and expect to be saved. The more they suffer, the more they will come to understand the immense value of what they discarded. The narcissist will be left with no one to blame but themselves. They will have to confront the profound truth that they, and they alone, are responsible for their own suffering. This memory will not just be a memory. It will be a catalyst for a profound and painful self-awareness, a shocking realization that will change their life forever. But what will this moment of clarity truly reveal? The narcissist, in their silent prison of torment, has been running from the truth for their entire life. They have used lies, manipulation, and the applause of others as a shield against the reality of their own brokenness. But the Spirit reveals that the time for running is over. The shield has been shattered by their own hands, and the truth they have so long suppressed is about to flood their soul in a single, devastating moment. This is the moment of shocking realization, a profound and painful self-awareness that will change them forever. It is the moment they finally see themselves and you for who you truly are, The Bible tells us in John chapter 8 verse 32 that you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. For the narcissist, this truth does not bring freedom in the human sense. It does not bring peace or happiness. It brings a profound and painful awareness of the spiritual prison they have built for themselves. The truth, in this moment, is a mirror that reveals the full extent of their spiritual sickness. They will see every lie they have told, every person they have used, and every moment of malice they have inflicted. The Spirit reveals that this is not a gentle realization. It is a moment of profound horror, a moment of deep and agonizing regret. They will feel the full weight of their own sin, the full weight of their own spiritual debt, and they will be forced to confront the fact that they, and they alone, are responsible for their own misery. The most shocking part of this realization is their understanding of you. For so long, the narcissist saw you as a problem, an obstacle, and a person to be discarded. But in this moment of clarity, they will see you for who you truly were, a divine intervention, a sacred person, and a vessel of a divine purpose. They will realize that you were not a random person who wandered into their life. You were a deliberate act of grace, a lifeline thrown to them in their spiritual turmoil. They will understand that your love was not a weakness, but a strength. They will see that your kindness was not a naivete, but a powerful reflection of a divine nature. They will finally grasp the profound truth that they did not discard a person. They discarded a blessing. The Spirit reveals that this realization is not a moment of repentance in the traditional sense. It is not a moment of joy. It is a moment of deep and profound regret. They will be forced to see that the suffering they are now enduring is a direct result of their choice to turn their back on you. They will be forced to confront the fact that they traded a chance at a real, meaningful life for the empty, hollow praise of the world. They will realize that the new people they have surrounded themselves with are just temporary distractions, and that the emptiness they feel is a spiritual famine that can only be filled by the humility they have so long rejected. This moment of shocking realization is the ultimate culmination of the spiritual law of cause and effect. It is a testament to the idea that a person cannot run from the truth forever. They cannot build a life on a foundation of lies and expect it to stand. They cannot discard a blessing and expect to be blessed. The narcissist in this moment of clarity is a living, breathing testament to the power of a divine hand to bring about justice and to reveal the truth. They are a powerful example of a person who had everything to gain by choosing humility and everything to lose by choosing pride. The narcissist, in their torment, will finally understand that the peace and happiness they have been so desperately searching for was offered to them through you. They will see that the freedom they so desperately wanted was offered to them through your love. And they will have to live with the agonizing knowledge that they threw it all away. This is not a human punishment. This is a spiritual consequence, a painful but necessary step on a long and difficult road. This devastating realization, while agonizing for the narcissist, brings a profound and bitter taste of vindication for the person they discarded. It is a moment of justice that you did not have to fight for. What does this profound vindication truly feel like? The human heart, in its pain, often cries out for justice. When a person has been betrayed, manipulated, and discarded, there is a natural desire to see the wrong corrected, to see the abuser held accountable. But the Spirit reveals a profound and liberating truth. You do not have to fight for justice. The narcissist's painful realization of their mistake, as we have seen, is a bitter taste of vindication for you. It is a moment of justice that you did not have to earn. A profound act of spiritual law that vindicates your worth without you having to lift a finger. The Bible tells us in Romans chapter 12 verse 19 that it says, "Vengeance is mine. I will repay, says the Lord." The Spirit reveals that this is not a call to inaction, but a call to trust. When you were with the narcissist, you were in a spiritual battle. The narcissist was fighting against the truth you represented and against the humility you embodied. They believed they could win that battle by lying, by manipulating, and by discarding you. But a divine hand was already in motion. Justice was not dependent on your ability to expose them. It was dependent on a spiritual law that says every seed sown will be reaped. The narcissist, in their arrogance, sowed a seed of self-destruction, and now they are reaping a harvest of torment and regret. This is the ultimate form of justice, a justice that is not administered by a human judge, but by a divine law that cannot be evaded. The vindication you feel is not about revenge. It is about a quiet, profound sense of peace. It is the peace of knowing that you did not have to lower yourself to their level to win the battle. You did not have to fight fire with fire. You did not have to get a new audience to prove your worth. The Spirit reveals that your worth was never in question. It was the narcissist's worth that was in doubt, and their painful realization of their mistake is the ultimate confirmation of your value. The vindication is in knowing that they, in their deepest moments of solitude, are now forced to see the truth that you always knew. They are now forced to see that you were not a problem to be solved, but a blessing to be cherished. The vindication is not found in their apology. The Spirit reveals that the narcissist in their pride may never be able to truly apologize. Their pride is so great that they would rather suffer in silence than to admit they were wrong. The vindication is found in the spiritual truth that they are suffering. It is found in the knowledge that they cannot escape the consequences of their actions. It is found in the fact that the very thing they so desperately wanted to escape, the truth you represented, is now the very thing that is tormenting them. The vindication is a spiritual and a personal truth. They cannot hurt you without hurting themselves far more. They cannot turn away from the light without falling into the darkness. The Spirit reveals that your role in this spiritual play was not to be a victor, but to be a vessel. You were a vessel of truth, of kindness, and of love. You were a living, breathing testament to a life that was possible for them, a life of peace, of humility, and of love. And in your painful experience, you were not just a victim. You were a witness. You were a witness to the power of pride to destroy a person from the inside out. You were a witness to the power of a spiritual law to bring about justice without human effort. You were a witness to the fact that what is done in darkness will always be brought into the light. This vindication is a powerful lesson for you as well. It is a lesson that you can trust in a higher purpose. It is a lesson that you do not have to fight your own battles. It is a lesson that you can find peace and healing in the quiet assurance that justice is a spiritual law. It is a lesson that your worth is not dependent on a human being's opinion of you, but on a divine truth that can never be changed. The narcissist's painful realization is a testament to the fact that you were never the problem. You were the blessing. Their painful self-awareness brings them back to the spiritual lesson they refused to learn. The classroom of their humiliation has one final profound truth to teach them. What is the final, agonizing lesson they are forced to grasp in their torment? The narcissist, in their arrogance, believed they knew better. They believed they could forge a life of success and happiness on their own terms, without humility and without connection. They refused to sit in the classroom of life and learn the simple, profound lessons that are available to every heart. And so, a divine hand has now placed them in a different kind of classroom, a classroom where the only lesson is the truth they refuse to learn, and the only teacher is their own relentless pain. The final, agonizing lesson they are forced to grasp is that their downfall was a direct result of their rejection of a divine purpose. The Bible tells us in James chapter 4 verse 6 that God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. The narcissist, in their pursuit of pride, put themselves in direct opposition to a divine will. They believed they were building their own kingdom, but in reality, they were fighting a battle they could never win. Their suffering is a profound, spiritual lesson in the futility of their pride. They are being forced to see that the very qualities they despised, humility, vulnerability, and a heart of service, were the very qualities that could have saved them. They are in a classroom where they are forced to see that the grace they so easily dismissed was the very grace they so desperately needed. The Spirit reveals that the more they resist this lesson, the more they will suffer. The more they try to justify their actions, the deeper they will sink into their own personal hell. The most painful part of this lesson is their understanding of the true purpose of your arrival in their life. For so long, they saw you as a problem to be solved, a temporary tool to be used and discarded. But in this final classroom of torment, they will be forced to see that you were not a problem. You were a divine intervention. The Spirit reveals that they will finally understand the peace they were searching for, the happiness they were desperately trying to find, and the healing they so desperately needed was all offered to them through your life. They will be forced to confront the fact that they did not just reject you. They rejected a divine mercy that was offered to them in a person. They turned their back on a purpose that was meant to heal them, to guide them, and to bring them to a life of true peace. The Bible tells us in Romans chapter 11 verse 22 that consider therefore the kindness and sternness of God. The narcissist, for a time, was shown a divine kindness through your life. They were shown an unconditional love, a patient spirit, and a humble heart. But they chose to reject that kindness, and now they are experiencing the sternness, the consequence of their choice. This is the final and most powerful lesson. Their suffering is not a random punishment. It is a direct and purposeful consequence of their own free will. It is a testament to the idea that a person cannot turn away from a divine purpose without suffering the full weight of their own decision. They have no one to blame but themselves, and this agonizing realization is the most painful part of their spiritual education. This lesson is not about their redemption. The Spirit reveals that the choice to repent and change is still theirs to make, but they are now in a place where their pride is being shattered so that they can finally see a way out. They are being given a final opportunity to learn the lesson of humility. They are being forced to see that the person they discarded was not their victim, but their lifeline. They are being forced to understand that the pain they are feeling is not a random suffering, but the spiritual consequence of a choice they made. They will have to live with the agonizing knowledge that their own choices are what led them to this moment. The narcissist, in their ultimate humiliation, becomes a living testament to a profound spiritual truth. Their downfall is not about them. It is about a greater purpose that was at work in their life and in yours. It is a testament to the idea that there is always a divine plan unfolding, even in the most painful and confusing circumstances. Your experience with them was not a mistake. It was a crucial part of a larger spiritual journey, a divine assignment. What was the ultimate meaning of this entire experience, and what was the divine purpose of your arrival in their life? The world would have you believe that your experience with the narcissist was a season of loss, a painful and confusing chapter of your life that you simply have to endure and forget. But the Spirit reveals a far deeper and more empowering truth. Your experience was not a mistake. It was not a punishment. It was a divine assignment, a spiritual purpose for your life that was being revealed in a powerful and profound way. You were a living, breathing testament to a divine hand at work, and your entire journey was a crucible designed to refine you and prepare you for a greater purpose. The Bible tells us in Romans chapter 5 verses 3 to 4 that we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. The pain you endured was not in vain. The tears you cried were not wasted. The Spirit reveals that every difficult moment, every season of confusion, was working together to forge in you a strength and a character that you could not have otherwise obtained. The narcissist, in their arrogance, believed they were destroying you. But in reality, they were a tool in a divine plan to build you up. They were a spiritual weight, a pressure designed to make you stronger. The lies they told forced you to cling to a deeper truth. The pain they inflicted forced you to rely on a source of peace that was not of this world. Your suffering, as painful as it was a master class in spiritual endurance. You have been refined in the fire, and you have emerged as pure gold. The Spirit reveals that your purpose was twofold. You were not just a vessel for the narcissist's spiritual reckoning. You were also a vessel for your own spiritual growth. The narcissist, in their sickness, was simply the catalyst for a profound journey of self-discovery and healing for you. Through this experience, you were forced to confront your own worth, to establish your own boundaries, and to learn to trust in a spiritual truth that was far greater than any human lie. You learned a humility that the narcissist could not, and you learned a strength that the world could not give you. The Spirit reveals that you were being prepared for a greater purpose, a divine mission that you could not have accomplished without the painful lessons you learned in this season. The narcissist may have been a person of immense pride, but they were also a person who was deeply broken. They were a spiritual classroom for you, a living, breathing example of a person who chose to reject a divine purpose and to suffer the consequences. And through their example, you were taught a profound lesson in the power of a divine hand to bring about justice, to bring about truth, and to bring about a beautiful and unexpected future. The Spirit reveals that your journey was a powerful testament to the fact that you do not have to fight for justice. You do not have to expose them, and you do not have to waste your life on their past. Your vindication is not found in their suffering. It is found in your own peace and in your own beautiful future. The narcissist's downfall is a powerful testament to a spiritual truth, but your healing and your future are a more powerful testament to a divine love. You have been through a great trial, but you have come out on the other side. You have learned a profound lesson, and you are now prepared for a beautiful and purposeful future. Your assignment with them is over, but your assignment for a divine purpose is just beginning. This journey has been a testament to the quiet, powerful work of a holy hand, a hand that can turn the most painful moments of our lives into a profound and purposeful story. The narcissist's story is a painful one, a story of a person who chose pride over humility and paid the price. But your story is a different one. It is a story of a person who, in the midst of a great trial, chose to cling to a deeper truth. Your story is a testament to a divine plan that is always unfolding, a plan that is always working for your good. It is a story of a person who was a vessel for a divine purpose, and who has now been set free to live a life of peace, of joy, and of immense purpose. The torment of the narcissist is a reminder of their choice, but your peace is a reminder of yours. You have been through the fire, and you have come out on the other side, and you are ready for a new and beautiful beginning.